Diarmuid ua Duibhne. Diarmuid ua Duibhne, Diramudo Odina, class name Lancer, Ransa, is the Lancer class servant of Cainith el Meloy Archibald in the Fourth Holy Grail War of Fate/0. He is a chivalrous servant who wishes to do his best to serve his master and obtain victory within the war for the Grail. He shares a bond of mutual respect with rival servant Artoria, wishing to face her in an honorable duel to the death. He is one of the servants summoned by Ritsuka Fujimaru in the Grand Orders of Fate/Grand Order. The son of Don W.P., foster son of Angus Oglup, and first spear of the Knights of Fianna. He is known as Diarmuid of the Love Spot, due to a magical love spot granted to him by a young girl. Any woman who gazes upon the spot instantly falls in love with him, which eventually leads to an encounter with Grain, the bride of Fian Mac Cumhale. Grain, having fallen in love with Diarmuid at her wedding party, placed a guise upon him to run away with her. It has been said that, even while at large, Diarmuid stuck to his fidelity to Fian and did not lay a finger on Grain. They were pursued relentlessly by Fian, but after much blood was shed, he decided to recognize their marriage, granted Diarmuid a proper title and land, and welcomed them back as subjects. Sometime later, while hunting with Fian, Diarmuid was fatally injured by a demon boar, the reincarnation of his half-brother. Fian, who had the ability to transform spring water into a powerful healing agent, was with him, so he had no fear of death. Fian only needed to walk a few steps to the nearby spring, but with jealousy and hatred towards Diarmuid on his mind, he spilled the water twice. By the third time he went to scoop water, Diarmuid had already succumbed to his wound. The story of his tragic love affair with Grain would later become the model for the story of Lancelot and Guinevere. Appearance: Diarmuid is regarded as a remarkably handsome young man with quirky long hair combed backward in a rough fashion that has a strand hanging down his face. He wears a dark teal outfit, similar to that of Cu Chulain's. Due to their shared Celtic mythology, Irisveal instantly notes that his features are capable of sweeping a woman's heart at a glance. It is described that the bold features of his face are the high bridge of his nose and his valiant eyebrow. His hard-cut mouth marks him with a stoic air, but his eyes seem make his gaze even more brilliant. Takeuchi considers his charm point to be his droopy eyes and button of a mouth. He has a strong, attractive manly scent that rises from him. She soon realizes his elegant air of beauty is somewhat unnatural. Even though his features are considered handsome, much of it comes from his spiritual power charming women due to the curse of his beauty spot. Personality: Diarmuid is an extremely proud and noble knight who wishes to serve his lord to the best of his abilities. The guise laid upon him by Grain was taken by Diarmuid as a test of his pride. He never once blamed her for forcing it upon him, and he truly admired her ability to throw away her pride, title, and future for the sake of her love. He was constantly distressed by the fact that he betrayed his lord, and even as he died while Fian did nothing, he did not blame his lord for his actions. Diarmuid believed that despite the cruel twist of fate that led him down this path, the days spent with his lord and his love were used to the fullest. Diarmuid sees the Grail War as a miracle that will allow him to regain his pride as a knight by fighting noble battles and delivering the Grail to his master. He sees no use in wishing upon the Grail, as simply being summoned has already half fulfilled his greatest desire. If Diarmuid appreciated Cainith's talents and experience, then Cainith would have treated him with a much softer attitude. To Diarmuid's disappointment, Cainith doesn't believe him in the slightest and constantly looks down on his pride as a knight. He constantly berates Diarmuid, believing that Diarmuid plans to betray him and take his fiancée, Sola Ui Nuadari Sofiari, by using his magical spot. He is also a coward who constantly make demands that would have Diarmuid betray his code and win by all cost. Despite his master's distrust and lack of character, Diarmuid remains extremely loyal, though he fears that Sola Ui's attraction to him will eventually cause him to betray his master once more. He happens to be a submissive man as he constantly took abuse from his master while offering little resistance to stop it. Diarmuid adheres strictly to the codes of chivalry and upholds his pride as a knight to the fullest, steadfastly believing in honor during battle. While being pursued by the Knights of Fian, he refused to fight against his former comrades. Despite having been presented with several chances to kill either Artoria and Kiritsugu, he refuses to do so due to the circumstances with which he can do so are against his code. During his battles with Saber, he attempts to provide for the fairest conditions possible. His code and pride also forbids him to ignore evil. During the Castor crisis, he even goes as far as to fight alongside Saber, acting as her left hand, after she suffers the crippling wound from Gi Bid in order to be able to face her in battle again in the future. he is willing to go so far as to destroy Duibhne, so as to allow Saber to use her noble phantasm to destroy Castor, simply because Castor himself is a great evil that has to be wiped out, despite the fact that he himself has nothing to gain from it. Abilities. Diarmuid is an extremely accomplished spearman, capable of skillfully using 2 spears of different lengths with blinding speed and agility. Diarmuid has exceptional speed, the highest rank possible for a servant, and a high strength rank, though the rest of his statistics are much lower. Although his basic parameters are not particularly high, he excels at using battle tactics designed to trip up enemies stronger than himself. In particular, he is the natural enemy of those heroic spirits which rely on the power of their noble phantasm to fight. He obtains no geographical boosts from the cultural sphere around Japan, and due to his greater mana supply from his master, he is stronger than Ku Chulainn in terms of pure firepower. Should both of them fight in Ireland, Ku Chulainn would gain an edge over him. Although Lancelot was a powerful enemy against all other teams fighting in the Fourth Holy Grail War, Diarmuid would have an advantage against him due to compatibility. Also qualifying for the Saber class, it is likely that it was Kenneth's original expectation to have summoned him in that form. Combat. Diarmuid has amazing warrior prowess as seen in his fight with Artoria, where despite having his back turned to her and not seeing her, he was able to put her completely on the defensive, with no opening for a counterattack. Even when he resorts to utilizing just one spear, which is not his preferred style, he is still able to fight Saber without being at a disadvantage. In addition to his close-quarters combat prowess, he is confident that he is able to hit Castor's grimoire from the shore of the river with his lance if he can glimpse it for just a moment. This is a throwback to his legend, where he used the same lance to strike down a flying witch after he was in great pain from having been hit with poisonous darts. Depending on his strategy, he could have won the entire Fourth Holy Grail War or suffer a humiliating defeat at the hands of Hassan of the Hundred Faces. While he usually follows the codes of chivalry during the war, it would be possible to have him to use underhanded tactics to have a better chance at claiming the Holy Grail. Convincing him that Heaven's Field is filled with filth instead of an honorable battleground with other heroes and avoiding contact with Saber to keep him from awakening his chivalric pride would allow him to utilize Duibhne in a hit-and-run strategy. Briefly engaging opponents in order to land precise hits with the spear and then retreat would become the main form of attack. He would not directly engage them, allowing him to cripple his opponents one by repeatedly attacking them. The other tactic would involve manipulating or taking advantage of Team Berserker in order to let Berserker defeat other servants and fight him in the final battle. Class skills. Magic resistance, B rank cancel spells with a chant below 3 verses. Even if targeted by greater magecraft and greater rituals, it is difficult for them to be affected. Personal skills. Mind's Eye, true, B rank capable of calm analysis of battle conditions even when in danger and deduce an appropriate course of action after considering all possibilities to escape from a predicament. He is extremely insightful, as he is capable of leading Saber, whose instinct skill allows her to avoid danger, into a well-thought-out trap. By utilizing her lack of knowledge of Duibhne, he made Saber believe that he had simply abandoned it, and later managed to lure her into a position where he could freely kick it towards her. Love Spot, C rank A spell, curse, inherent of one's facial features which is cast as soon as the target looks at the user's face, a mystic face. Enchants those of the user's opposite sex with magical energy. It is because of this curse that he is known as Diarmuid of the Love Spot. A woman who confronts Diarmuid gains a strong love affection for him. Effects are similar to those of charm-type Mystic Eyes. Avoidable with the magic resistance skill. Knight Strategy, B rank a battle methodology in which one grasps the flow of battle and induces the opponent to make a mistake, even without being a match for him, or in strength. A skill not for self-strengthening, but to invite a check failure for the opponent. Consists of composed observation powers to wager on a momentary chance of victory. Noble Phantasms. His noble phantasms are his twin spears, Duibhne, a spear that makes any wounds caused by it unhealable, and Dirge, a spear renders magical defenses powerless by piercing through mana. He keeps them tightly wrapped in amulet cloths from their tips to the handles, sealing their abilities and acting as a countermeasure to avoid revealing their names by hiding the shafts of the weapons. Their abilities begin working immediately after undoing them from their bindings.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.